Finding the entrance wasn't. While the main entrance had been blocked off with rebar before being filled and sealed with concrete, he had known about the side entrance from the supernatural research before. That and Cameron's blood was sprinkled here and there, and the scent of it, Devon. Of course it led right to that entrance. He had started unlocking his cuffs the second he thought Brian might be out of earshot. He had fumbled with the tiny slippery key before freeing his wrist, revealing blood-crusted fur matted down to the broken skin. Now Devon moves through the mine's complete dark. It's almost suffocating, almost panic-inducing, but the scent of Cameron mixing with the foul odor of Brian pushes the younger bear deeper into the tunnel.
That my
I also just realized
boyfriend
that,
coming to save you.
yeah, we've actually got new sprites for Devin here, because he'd never had shirtless sprite before.
He did.
Was it? Really? Like, because I thought
there
he
was.
always...
Was there one by the lake?
Oh,
Yeah,
wait, no,
there
you're
was
right.
a
No,
scene.
no, it was the time where he talked with Cameron. I forgot about that.
Oh, that sound I'm hearing
like-
is... I thought it was a car. It's the music.
It was the green like arch scene. Remember that one, where they talk and like hug it out and everything, and promise each other that they're gonna try and survive.
Yeah.
That's where he had the shirtless sprite, because yeah, he had a shirt up until they met Brian, and then Brian basically just fucked them all up.
I do enjoy the image of, like, look at this guy. Look at this mighty big old buff boyfriend here to save you.
The air feels tense, as if the mine itself is intent on seeing what. He's not going to fall into another abyss. When Lupita died, it had been an accident. One that happened after a tornado shredded their town, leveling the block across the street, but leaving their house mostly intact. As a 12-year-old, he just didn't think it could happen. They had survived the actual disaster, but just as the relief started to set, it happened. He felt powerless in that situation, and he knew that her death happened because of him. But this time, different. He couldn't fight what took Lupita, but he can fight what's taking Cameron.
Damn it.
After about 10 minutes, though, Devon starts to become more agitated, unable to hear them any longer, and going by scent alone, Devon can tell that he's lost the trail.
Shit.
He hisses through his teeth, trying to keep quiet in case Brian is somehow nearby, lying in wait. And then somehow, he hears Cameron's singing voice. Devon goes completely still. He'd recognize his boyfriend's voice anywhere, of course. But Cameron's style is different, having the qualities of a singer from the 50s while retaining a grunge-like roughness. The Coyote was heavily influenced by the black and white musicals his mother used to watch late at night. He was embarrassed about it after being critiqued in one of his vocal performance classes, and he had been trying to change his technique when Devon first met him. But Devon always liked Cameron's voice, and it was due to Devon's urging that Cameron leaned into his style. Devon begins moving as fast as he can while staying quiet. He knocks his nose into a few walls, and scrapes up his elbows and shoulders, but he keeps moving, simply trying to force his way in the direction of the voice. Then, just as he thinks he's a few turns away, it stops. Then, Cameron screams, and Devon drops all attempts at stealth.
Cam! Brian!
He calls out to let Brian know he's there, to at least distract him from Cody. Then he barrels his way through the darkness, trying to find what he's sure is the last. Why Brian has brought Cameron here, he doesn't know. He doesn't even know what he's going to do when he meets them. Well, anything. He'll do anything.
Oh, I thought for sure that would be seen.
Yes.
Well, they set up that Cameron's screaming, and we're gonna have to find out why Cameron's screaming, but this is probably gotta be it.
Yeah. Brian is looking a bit more distracted, starting to scan the tunnel wall before his eyes settle on what looks like a large crack from the ceiling to the ground. Cameron turns up his singing a notch, knowing that this is their destination, the end of the road. The old bear glances at him, looking annoyed. This, for whatever reason, is what brings Brian out of his stimulant-induced hyperfocus. Brian finally realizes what's happening. It's only now that the old bear remembers Cameron's plan to take the key. Even Cameron forgot. But now, a huge paw flies to his pocket, digging inside and realizing it's too late before he whirls on.
Oh, you little squeak!
Cameron turns and runs, trying to take advantage of Brian. Go for a couple of seconds. Something pounds into Cameron just to his right, and it feels like a cannonball being smashed through his body. Cameron is launched forward against the tunnel wall directly in front, and he tries to hold onto it, sliding down slightly as he stares straight up into the darkness. It's so dark that Cameron can't tell if the ceiling is a few feet above him, or if it's simply endless space full of glowing stretch on forever. His eyes stay wide, his breath leaking out of his muzzle, and low, high-pitched rasp to believe the pain he feels spreading through his insides is real. Then, he's on the ground, writhing and groaning uncontrollably while electric pain spiderwebs through his body. The blows Brian had delivered before are nothing compared to this. Cameron thrashes around in the dirt, desperate to find a way out of the hell. He's in hell. Who's in hell? He has to be. What are those red arches and fire flames spreading from his guts up into his lungs?
Damn, you probably only pissed blood after that one.
Brian's mock-concerned voice snaps back to the situation. And in the very back of his head, he realizes the trip is beginning its descent. The pain is still present, though, and it's not letting up. How can he feel pain if he's nothing? He's finally breathing again, but each exhale is accompanied by a wheeze. Involuntary tears. Involuntary tears rolling down his face. Brian leans over him, and the coyote cringes.
No, stop, please.
Brian pauses, then just grabs Cameron by the arm.
Yeah, your mic, I Hannah, DJ, at some point, I think we need to get you guys a new mic, because I think your snowball just is so apt and quick to like cancel everything out.
Well, it's also, we live
also-
off,
Yeah.
and so what happens is every time a car comes by,
Mm.
it's like, car, cancel that out.
Brian pauses, then just grabs Cameron by the arm and yanks up. Cameron lets out a hoarse, breathless scream as his aching body is forced to move again. It echoes around them before cutting off as a huge arm tightens around.
Cam! Brian!
Devon's voice is very close, maybe only a tunnel or two away. Brian mumbles quietly next to his ear.
Set?
Shut the fuck up right now or I will obliterate your other kidney. Got it?
Cameron feels the threat hovering over the left side this time. He quickly shuts his mouth, even though groans still force their way up, muffled behind his lips. This at least seems to satisfy Brian, and he drops the chokehold before shoving Cameron forward. At first, Cameron is surprised that the bear didn't, but Brian's distracted again. Devon's too close, and a few terrible plans go through the older bear's head that causes Cameron's already aching abdomen to lurch with nausea and fear. Brian considers waiting and ambushing Dev, but he quickly discards the idea as he realizes Cameron might try to He quickly discards the idea as he realizes Cameron might right as he reaches them.
You cut out again after Cameron might.
This is why I was holding the mic.
Yeah.
Brian considers waiting and ambush, but he quickly discards the idea as he realizes Cameron might try to warn Devon by making noise right as he reaches them. That's exactly what Cameron would do, even if it means being beaten to death by Brian. Deciding again that nothing matters anymore, he pushes Cameron forward through the narrow opening, the passage becoming more tight until Brian has to turn sideways and struggle through, and then it opens up.
And of course, we're back here.
Cameron smells death. He instinctively backs up, right into Brian.
No. No. No, no, no. Please don't do this. I can't.
He can't finish his sentence. Brian's victims felt pain that still seems unimaginable to the coyote. Knowing Devon is close behind them, Cameron makes one last effort to turn and dodge around Brian, but the bear is far too large, and he easily grabs up the coyote and throws him further into the hollow. Cameron comes up immediately, trying to suppress his whines and whimpers.
Brian, just wait a second. Think about it. I can help you. Why did you bring me here in the first place?
Brian gives Cameron a dispassionate look, but he does pause, and that gives Cameron some hope. And some time.
Let me talk to them. Let me see if I can reason with them. We both know that all of this is over.
Cameron senses a slight shift in Brian's intentions as the bear begins to seriously consider Cameron's reasoning.
I know you need my help. I can feel them. They want you, Brian, and they're waiting for you. I know it can be like walking in circles for most of your life, making the same stupid mistakes and knowing you need to do what you need to do to get better, and just never doing it.
Oh yeah?
But I finally did, and my life was almost perfect. Until I met you. So let's do it. Let's end this nightmare right now.
Brian takes a deep breath and holds it. The entire mine, the entire town, seems to hold its breath with him, and Cameron starts to understand how deeply entwined this bear is with this place. This entity that seems to be pulling all the strings. Cameron can feel the monolithic entity shift and turn, as if it too senses an inevitable end. Brian is close to taking the coyote's offer. But it isn't meant to be. And Cameron, of course, knows that. A scuffling from the entrance announces Devon's arrival.
Guess he's finally here, huh? Glad I brought my 10 gauge. Always want to make sure you got good firepower when bears are involved, eh?
Cameron watches in horror as the old bear opens up the shotgun before inserting a shell. Cameron's mind is blank as he automatically lunges at the huge bear, grabbing at the shotgun barrel as Brian snarls in rage. Everything's falling apart. You're spiraling. Devon shoves his bulk through the narrow passage, squeezing through to the hollow on the other side. When he stumbles into the open space, Devon spots Cameron immediately, the coyote being swung left and right as he fights with Brian over the shotgun. Cameron is covered in blood, tears matting the fur on his cheeks. The situation is already a terrible one, but again, his fear for Cameron turns to anger at Brian as he sees the bear throwing vicious, crushing kicks at Cameron's lower body. Devon realizes this is it, and he has no time to think. Devon charges up behind the old bear and bites deeply into the side of Brian's neck.
Oh, damn.
Apparently biting someone other than himself is a lot more effective, and he feels his canines sink deep into the flesh beneath the thick fur. The old man is covered in a layer of protective padding, just like himself, but the older bear clearly has a lot more of it. Still, Brian screams, high-pitched and full of fury. Then, Cameron is finally shaken loose from the shotgun. Brian grabs the barrel with both paws before ramming the butt of the shotgun back into Devon's stomach. The younger bear retches and crumples over, but he manages to grab the shotgun, holding onto the stock tightly. Brian, clearly aware of how bad the situation could become for him, lets go of the shotgun so he can turn around and throw a knee up Devon's hunched form, an inch above the navel, almost the exact spot he'd hit earlier. Devon feels as if as if his guts are flattened to his spine before liquefying, the force actually lifting him off the ground for a half second. Even though he lands on his feet, he immediately sinks to his knees, muzzle wide open as he continues a battle with his own lungs, all while still trying to hold on to the shotgun.
You're a dead man walking, boy. Well, on your knees anyway. What a surprise.
Brian fumbles shakily to find the stock of the shotgun hidden somewhere under Devon's bulk, while simultaneously trying to avoid the end of the barrel in case Devon is able to find the trigger. The attack had been enough to rattle Brian, even if it was short-lived. Devon curses himself, trying to move, knowing he probably can't win, but he needs to do something. Maybe hurt Brian so bad that Cameron can at least get away. Get up. But he can't breathe, so there's not much he can do to defend himself, let alone stand up. So, Devon keeps his hold on the shotgun, even as Brian starts trying to yank it from this weakened grasp, and he's starting to succeed.
Cam! Run!
Devon rasps, not even sure where Cameron is right now. Assuming he still might be on the ground after being kicked up so many times. Brian squeals. Looking up from his doubled up position, Devon sees Brian in front of him, bent over as well. The grizzled bear grabbing between his legs. As Brian sinks lower, Cameron appears, lowering foot. The coyote smiles with relief and joy at seeing Devon, and seeing that he's got the shotgun. Cameron seems so sure that they've won that he doesn't see Brian's quick recovery, the old bear forcing himself up, murderous vengeance in his eyes as he runs at Cameron with another animalistic scream. Devon can only watch as the huge bear charges at Cameron.
No!
The much smaller coyote can only yelp in panic before Brian smashes into him and crushes him against the wall. Devon hears a crunching sound just as he gets his first tiny sip of air, just as he hears Cameron own air wheeze out in a yowl-like moan. And then, even more viciously than Devon had attacked Brian, the old bear begins to maul Cameron.
Oh, God.
Brian bashes him left and right with blows aimed at the coyote's face before Cameron collapses. There, Brian begins to rip and tear into the coyote with his claws. Devon begins to move, but it's slow, and he just wishes his lungs would start working. He struggles with the shotgun, but it suddenly opens up, and Devon doesn't know anything about working guns. So he leaves it behind, just knowing that he needs to stop Brian. Cameron tries to crawl away from Brian, and Devon sees the horror mirrored in his boyfriend's eyes. Then Brian comes down on him again, and Cameron throws his left elbow back into the bear's face, only for Brian to sink his teeth into Cameron's forearm and elbow. Then he twists and tears, and Cameron lets out a howling sound, his body twisting violently. He's on his back now, and he goes quiet, staring in shock at the wall he's laying perpendicular to. His eyes beginning to roll up as Brian thrashes his head, and a crunch comes from... coyote can't make any sounds now, the breath seemingly knocked out of him by the pain. Devin has never heard Cameron make those feral pain sounds. Not like this. And to see him in so much agony that he can't breathe, can't even vocalize it anymore, gives Devin the final push he needs. He charges into Brian, and the force knocks the old bear off the coyote. Devin has never seriously mauled someone in his entire life. But it's something that comes naturally to him, and Brian, and what he had play-mauled someone and while he had play-mauled people in the past, including Cameron, this is the first time he brings his claws, teeth, and muscles to full use. Straddling the older bear, Devin roars at Brian before lunging down. First he bites Brian's neck again, but from the front this time, while his paws rip and tear into the bigger bear's hide. Brian seems to concentrate for a second before burying his fist up into Devin's stomach, but the younger bear is tensed up this time, and the fist gets no further than his stomach muscles. Still, Brian's power is almost supernatural, and Devin lurches and grunts, folding over, an ache forming deep in the pit of his belly, but it only makes him bite harder. Devin can feel that he's truly stunned the old bear, at least for now, and as Brian takes his fist back, he resorts to panicked shoves instead of actually trying to fight. When Brian finally does try to claw at Devin's face and eyes, the younger bear leans back and smashes his head into Brian's muzzle. The sound it makes indicates a broken snout, and Brian lets out another high-pitched whine before screaming and trying to lunge up to bite Devin's neck. Devin leans back, just avoiding the teeth before smashing his head a second time into Brian's face. Then, as Brian lays dazed, Devin lays into his snout 3 times, full force, trying to pound every bit of agony into Brian that the old bear had given all of them. That would be impossible, though. Still, Devin feels a savage satisfaction as he sees at least 2 of the old bear's yellow teeth roll out of his muzzle. Brian howls and rolls violently, finally dislodging the slightly smaller bear. Devin heaves for breath, watching as Brian comes up several feet away, crouching and also heaving for breath.
You.
Brian can barely form words, but not just because he's out of breath. His bitter hatred is evident, so mad that only frothy spit flies from his lips as he sputters. But then Brian's eyes flick to the right, and Devin remembers all at once that he left the gun there, having been focused on helping Cameron. The old bear moves lightning fast once again. He shoots off to the right. Devin realizes Cameron is there too.
Cameron, look out!
Cameron, lying in agony after Brian's vicious attack, knows something is deeply wrong with his body. The crushing against the wall of the chamber had done it. The true pain, though, emanates from his left arm, and Cameron knows that it's mangled, broken, and useless. But he can still use his legs, and Cameron forces himself to get up and start moving for the shotgun, hearing the snarls and growls of the bears behind him. He does his best to stay quiet, but stifled grunts and small squeaks force their way out of his throat. As soon as he touches the shotgun, though, he hears Devon shout.
Cameron, whoa!
And again, the nightmare that is Brian is tearing at his body, pinning him to the wall, and Cameron screams in terror as the huge bear starts trying to bite his neck. The panicked coyote is only just able to get his unbroken arm up. It's maybe only 3 seconds before Devon is there, but it feels like an eternity. Cameron, considering how badly it might feel to die from having his throat ripped out. Cameron's right arm is torn up as well, but since Brian is just gnawing and isn't shaking his head this time, his bones at least remain intact. Then, Devon wrenches the bigger bear off. Cameron tries to get up, to crawl, but it's useless. His body too beaten and broken to do anything other than dragging himself away. Then he hears Brian's high-pitched squealing again, and this time, it's genuinely terrified. Cameron looks over and sees the old bear is now on his back, with his arm in a sort of hold by Devon. Devon is laying on his back, Brian's arm pulled towards his chest, Devon's hips close to the older bear's shoulder, as his legs lock together at the ankles. Devon grunts and heaves with all his might, his huge, powerful body arching toward the ceiling. Devon is intent on really hurting Brian this time, wanting to make sure he pays the old man back for Cameron's tooth and arm. So with the tooth part avenged, Devon focuses on destroying the other bear's arm. Bear bones are especially hard to break. Devon has never had a broken bone in his life, but the younger bear knows a thing or two about applying force. His dad watched MMA all the time, and while he knows little about fighting, he knows why arm bars can be so devastating. But even as he leans back, bending the big bear's arm over his inner thigh, only a few cracks are heard, but it's nothing serious. Devon needs the arm to have less resistance, and more distance from the fulcrum. Unlocking his legs, he takes just a second to slam his foot right into the old bear's jaw. For just a second, Brian goes limp, and Devon relocks his ankles before lifting the limp arm away from his chest and curling up. Then, he heaves back on the arm again, arching hard while he twists his body.
Torque!
Now you're thinking like an engineer. As the catchphrase of one of Devon's old professors comes to his mind, a crack splits the air, and Brian's screams somehow reach a new, panicked pitch. Devon looks over to see Cameron has dragged himself a few feet away, leaving a dark, horrible blood trail smeared behind him. Devon stumbles over to him, hovering his paws over the coyote's neck.
Baby, your neck. Let me see it.
He didn't get me. Let's go.
Oh no.
Cameron is no shape to run, so he groans as Devon lifts him into his arms, the bear starting to stumble toward the exit. Cameron looks down at the coyote in his arms, just now seeing how truly terrible Cameron's injuries are.
Need to get you out of here. Shit, what?
In the frantic chaos of fighting off Brian and in making sure his boyfriend wasn't bleeding out, Devon had forgotten something. The butt of the shotgun, powered by the old bear's huge body, reminds him with a harsh, sickening ache that spreads in a wave through his body. Cameron hears the dull thud, followed by the vibration through Devon's thick body. He feels the bear cringe as he sinks into his knees, huddled over Cameron. The huge bear lifts up the shotgun he's made to keep a hold of. He struggles to hold it up with only his left paw, and his injured right arm dangles before he practically swings it up to prop his right elbow against the wall, a few pops coming from his shoulder as he does. He screams again when that happens. But with his fully functional, he can now take steady aim, and with how narrow the hollow is, there's nowhere to go.
Don't you fucking move. You got that? This is over. I'm killing that yote in front of you, and then I'm ripping your fucking arm off, boy.
Brian's expression is an odd mixture of excitement and disgust.
Pity you ain't half as cute as a pup.
Devon can only wheeze in response, and Cameron holds on to him tightly as he's cradled in his arms.
God, you fucking ruined it. He was perfectly fine till you showed up. Now he's fucking fucked up to the point he's not even fuckable.
Cameron's ability to see and feel things is fading, just as the effects of the shrooms are fading. Still, there's just a bit left, and Cameron tries his best to use it. Devon's body begins trembling, and Cameron holds on to him more tightly. Devon's voice, still breathless, whispers into Cameron's ear.
Honey, whatever happened, play dead, okay? No matter what.
But Cameron suddenly turns. Devon watches as Cameron's face becomes a bouquet of red roses, and the bear stumbles as the shot hits his arm. Cameron violently. Cameron's body jerks violently before going incredibly still. Devon quickly looks down to see Cameron, no longer with a face. Everything that used to make up his face is splattered against the walls, and it still pours from. Cameron is gone. In shock, Devon looks at his arm and sees the white of bone shards, first thinking that it's his own, but then he sees a few of Cameron's sharp teeth, also embedded into his arm. Devon leans over Cameron's body, an expression of untold anguish on his face, as he starts to let out a low, terrible groan that rises in pitch to a bearish howl.
Thank
After
fuck!
Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit!
I was hoping so bad that they didn't kill off one of the two. I don't want either of them dying.
Okay. I know I have absolutely no lines here, but like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Does anybody need a moment or no?
I need a moment.
I was asking because I have no lines, but oh god.
I mean, I gotta give it to them. The fact that Cameron died for a little bit, I genuinely thought they were going to commit, and I was like, no fucking way. I can't believe this.
I thought that the black screen was like, and congrats, that's build 7.
Yeah, Build 8 would just be Devin going apeshit on Brian.
Yep.
Alright, I'm just gonna say this. Remember how earlier where Cameron said he saw like 2 futures where he and Devin got to live? One ended with Brian dead, one ended with Brian alive. I want the one where Brian is dead.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought it was for Devin.
No. He saw, like, out of all the futures, most of them ended with Cameron dying. Some ended with Devin dying as well as Cameron. And then there was 2 futures they saw where both Devin and Cameron lived, one where Brian lived as well, and one where Brian died.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, question. So Cameron's a psychic?
Kind of. The thing is, he's sensitive to like supernatural phenomenon and everything. Like he sees things, and as it turns out, within the universe of Echo, for people like Cameron, if they're basically put under a lot of like mind-altering substances, it basically like ups the level of their psychic ability. So Cameron, because he's been on shrooms and Xanax and everything else, because Brian drugged the hell out of him, trying to make Cameron into like a perfect medium so that way he could like get all the ghosts that were haunting him to stop haunting him. Cameron like has been instead funneling that to being able to like do empathy and telepathy, as well as now future
Looking
sight.
into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. So, holy fuck. I don't like that, the way that it's so well
Oh,
written.
so that
And
was
then-
Cameron looking into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's a nice little trick they pulled on us as the audience with after looking forward.
Yeah, we're just like, holy shit.
You fucker.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm just here, right? We're all reading this, and the mental image of that is just so fucking horrifying. It's just like, okay, it's just,
Oh yeah, no.
I
Like,
know.
The other thing is, I also can see why they're saying, like, there's a lot of endings where Cameron dies, but Devin doesn't, because I frankly know that that's not... that Brian couldn't shoot Devin immediately after that. He'd have to fucking, like, reload the shotgun, and after that, Devin's gonna fucking murder Brian.
Yep.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, I mean, the thing is like, well, only earlier, once I heard earlier that the shell was already loaded.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a matter of pulling the trigger.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh shit. Okay.
Alright, are we ready to move onward?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Wait.
What?
After looking forward, Cameron does the only thing he can think of.
No!
Cameron yanks the barrel and shoves up.
He makes a dot. He missed both of them.
The sound is so loud, it instantly deafens Cameron, and though the ringing starts to subside, the hearing in his right...
Cameron! Cameron?
I'm fine.
Cameron looks to where Brian is. The kickback from the 10 gauge had hit him hard, squarely in the chest. Cameron can almost visualize the shock sent through that old worn-out, already exhausted from the stimulant in the fight. The old bear, still on unsteady feet, stumbles back a bit more before hitting the wall and sliding down it. Brian sits propped up against it, looking confused. He clutches his chest, rubbing it and grimacing. The shotgun is on the ground, out of Brian's reach, and the old bear makes no move to get it.
Fuck.
He starts to try and get back up, but falls back down.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck!
Brian clutches at his chest and stomach and groans.
Oh no. That was it? Is this it? The fuck? What the fuck? What the...
Brian slumps back, his body convulsing. Then he thrashes about, as if trying to escape something.
Oh no!
He knocks over and smashes the electric lantern, crushing it under his weight. For several more seconds, they both listen to Brian's grasping and snorting before it's silent. It's quiet for a little while longer. Cameron and Devon not daring. Brian had seemed invincible for so long. Cameron can't get himself to believe that it might be over. Devon whispers into Cameron's ear.
Cameron? How do you feel?
Cameron gives Devon a look that's a mix of love and exasperation, even if Devon can't see it right now. They both know he's badly fucked up.
I think something ruptured. It feels all wrong.
Cameron places his right paw on his own torso, wincing.
Don't move, okay? I'll get us out. I'll get us out in no time.
Devon starts to tentatively make his way forward, and just as Cameron is realizing how long this might actually take, possibly too long if there is internal bleeding, his vision flickers.